Hi there, in this video I'm going to be talking about a recent textbook I read called Multi-Agent Reinforcement Learning. So what is multi-agent reinforcement learning? Multi-agent reinforcement learning deals with how multiple agents interact, whether it be cooperate or compete against each other in various settings through reinforcement learning. So now I'll just give a brief overview of what's in the book and some of my experience whilst reading it and making notes on this textbook. So this textbook is an introduction to multi-agent reinforcement learning and assumes no prerequisites in reinforcement learning or multi-agent systems. The only necessary requirements are undergraduate mathematics as outlined in the textbook, and it will walk you through everything from the game theory and also introduces you to reinforcement learning. From a personal perspective, I'd already studied reinforcement learning through the great book Introduction to Reinforcement Learning by Sutton and Bartow, and I'd highly recommend you read that before you read this textbook. There is introduction to reinforcement learning in the textbook. However, I think it's better to get a more in-depth knowledge of reinforcement learning before moving on to this text. So where can you access this textbook? Well, you can find this on the Multi-Agent Reinforcement Learning website. I'll link that down below. And there is a free PDF version, which is incredible. And it also comes with code, which is extremely helpful that this book comes with code and can be found in the GitHub repository. And with the code, you can play around with some of the algorithms that are outlined in the book and some of the environments that they talk about. What are some of the applications of multi-agent reinforcement learning and some examples? So reinforcement learning has been one of the major aspects of some of the recent developments within AI, such as AlphaGo, and also in things like ChatGPT with reinforcement learning from human feedback. And within multi-agent systems, some examples could be a multi-robot warehouse, where many robot agents within a warehouse have to cooperate together to get orders out in the best way, most efficient way possible. Also in computer games, there have been recent breakthroughs in things like StarCraft and diplomacy, and how agents work within those games to compete, work together, but also how they communicate is also an important aspect. Within autonomous driving, you have to think about how the other cars work together without avoiding a crash and how to control flows of traffic. And finally, in automated trading, you may want to model the behavior of other agents trading, even though you can't see their policy and they're hidden to you. The challenges within multi-agent reinforcement learning. So one of them is the non-stationary caused by the learning agent. This is already a problem within reinforcement learning in deep Q networks and is due to the moving target problem, but can be solved by having a target network. However, with multiple agents, this problem of non-stationary can become worse due to each trying to adapt their policy to each other agent whilst the policy is still changing. So another challenge is how to choose an optimal policy and also determining what kind of equilibrium we want to reach with our agents. This is outlined within chapter 4 of the book and plays a lot into game theory with Nash equilibrium and Pareto optimal equilibrium. Another challenge is called multi-agent credit assignment, and that's about determining how much each agent contributed to the final goal and determining how much reward to give each agent. There have been algorithms which solve this problem, but it still is a big open problem. The challenge is scaling with the number of agents, which is exponential as you add more agents to your system. To end this video, I'd like to say thank you to the authors of this book for making it a free PDF and having the code. It's extremely accessible, extremely easy to read, and extremely insightful. Highly recommend this book if you're interested in multi-agent systems and want to learn about multi-agent reinforcement learning, this book is the best introduction there is, extremely accessible. It also plays into thinking about the future of AI, whether we want a centralized agent or we want many decentralized agents. And if we have decentralized agents, then they must work together, they must collaborate. They may also have to compete, which also plays into AI safety and how we figure out that problem.